including our bearers, had gone, every one of them. They even carried away the wounded. Just as the soldiers who surrounded us were completing their circle, they bolted between the two ends of it and vanished into the bush out of which we had marched on the previous evening. Often since then I have wondered what became of them. Doubtless some perished, and the rest worked their way back to their homes or found new ones among other tribes. The experiences of those who escaped must be interesting to them if they still live. I can well imagine the legends in which these will be embodied 2 or 3 generations hence. Deducting the slave people and the bearers whom we had wrung out of Hassan, we were now a party of 17, namely 11 Zulu hunters including Mavovo, 2 white men, Hans and Sammy, and the 2 Mazitus who had elected to remain with us, while round us was a great circle of savages which closed in slowly. As the light grew, it was long in coming on that dull morning, and the mist lifted, I examined these people without seeming to take any particular notice of them. They were tall, much taller than the average Zulu, and slighter in their build, also lighter in colour. Like the Zulus, they carried large hide shields and one very broad-bladed spear. Throwing assegais seemed to be wanting, but in place of them I saw that they were armed with short bows, which, together with a quiver of arrows, were slung upon their backs. The officers wore a short skin cloak or kaross, and the men also had cloaks, which I found out afterwards were made from the inner bark of trees. They advanced in the most perfect silence and very slowly. Nobody said anything, and if orders were given this must have been done by signs. I could not see that any of them had firearms. "Now," I said to Stephen, "perhaps if we shot and killed some of those fellows they might be frightened and run away, or they might not, or if they did, they might return." "Whatever happened," he remarked sagely, "we should scarcely be welcome in their country afterwards, so I think we had better do nothing unless we are obliged." I nodded, for it was obvious that we could not fight hundreds of men, and told Sammy, who was perfectly livid with fear, to bring the breakfast. No wonder he was afraid, poor fellow, for we were in great danger. These Mazitu had a bad name, and if they chose to attack us we should all be dead in a few minutes. The coffee and some cold buck's flesh were put upon our little camp table in front of the tent which we had pitched because of the rain, and we began to eat. The Zulu hunters also ate from a bowl of mealie porridge which they had cooked on the previous night, each of them with his loaded rifle upon his knees. Our proceedings appeared to puzzle the Mazitu very much indeed. They drew quite near to us, to within about 40 yards, and halted there in a dead circle, staring at us with their great round eyes. It was like a scene in a dream. I shall never forget it. Everything about us appeared to astonish them. Our indifference, the colour of Stephen and myself. As a matter of fact, at that date Brother John was the only white man they had ever seen. Our tent and our 2 remaining donkeys. Indeed, when one of these beasts broke into a bray, they showed signs of fright, looking at each other and even retreating a few paces. At length the position got upon my nerves, especially as I saw that some of them were beginning to fiddle with their bows, and that their general, a tall, one-eyed old fellow, was making up his mind to do something. I called to one of the 2 Mazitus, whom I forgot to say we had named Tom and Jerry, and gave him a pannikin of coffee. "Take that to the captain there with my good wishes, Jerry, and ask him if he will drink with us," I said. Jerry, who was a plucky fellow, obeyed. Advancing with the steaming coffee, he held it up under the captain's nose. Evidently he knew the man's name, for I heard him say, "O Babemba, the white lords Macumazana and Wazela ask if you will share their holy drink with them." I could perfectly understand the words, for these people spoke a dialect so akin to Zulu that by now it had no difficulty for me. "Their holy drink!" exclaimed the old fellow, starting back. "Man, it is hot red water. Would these white wizards poison me with mwavi?" Here I should explain that mwavi, or mkasa, as it is sometimes called, is the liquor distilled from the inner bark of a sort of mimosa tree, or sometimes from a root of the strychnus tribe, which is administered by the witch doctors to persons accused of crime. If it makes them sick they are declared innocent. If they are thrown into convulsions or stupor they are clearly guilty and die, either from the effect of the poison or afterwards by other means. "This is no mwavi, O Babemba," said Jerry. "It is the divine liquor that makes the white lords shoot straight with their wonderful guns which kill at 1,000 paces. See, I will swallow some of it." And he did. though it must have burnt his tongue. Thus encouraged, old Babemba sniffed at the coffee and found it fragrant. Then he called a man, who from his peculiar dress I took to be a doctor, made him drink some and watch the results, which were that the doctor tried to finish the pannikin. Snatching it away indignantly, Babemba drank himself, and as I had half filled the cup with sugar, found the mixture good. "It is indeed a holy drink," he said, smacking his lips. "Have you any more of it?" "The white lords have more," said Jerry. "They invite you to eat with them." Babemba stuck his finger into the tin, and covering it with the sediment of sugar, sucked and reflected. "It's all right," I whispered to Stephen. "I don't think he'll kill us after drinking our coffee, and what's more, I believe he is coming to breakfast." "This may be a snare," said Babemba, who now began to lick the sugar out of the pannikin. "No," answered Jerry with creditable resource. "Though they could easily kill you all, the white lords do not hurt those who have partaken of their holy drink, that is unless anyone tries to harm them. Cannot you bring more of the holy drink here?" he asked, giving a final polish to the pannikin with his tongue. "No," said Jerry. "If you want it you must go there. Fear nothing. Would I, one of your own people, betray you?" "True!" exclaimed Babemba. "By your talk and your face you are a Mazitu. How came you—" "Well, we will speak of that afterwards. I am very thirsty. I will come. Soldiers, sit down and watch, and if any harm happens to me, avenge it and report it to the king." Now, while all this was going on, I had made Hans and Sammy open one of the boxes and extract therefrom a good-sized mirror in a wooden frame, with a support at the back, so that it could be stood anywhere. Fortunately it was unbroken. Indeed, our packing had been so careful that none of the looking-glasses or other fragile things were injured. To this mirror I gave a hasty polish, then set it upright upon the table. Old Babemba came along rather suspiciously, his one eye rolling over us and everything that belonged to us. When he was quite close it fell upon the mirror. He stopped. He stared. He retreated. Then, drawn by his overmastering curiosity, came on again and again stood still. "What is the matter?" called his second in command from the ranks. "The matter is," he answered, "that here is great magic. Here I see myself walking towards myself. There can be no mistake, for one eye is gone in my other self." "Advance, O Babemba," cried the doctor, who had tried to drink all the coffee, "and see what happens. Keep your spear ready, and if your witch self attempts to harm you, kill it." Thus encouraged, Babemba lifted his spear and dropped it again in a great hurry. "That won't do, fool of a doctor," he shouted back. "My other self lifts a spear also, and what is more, all of you who should be behind are in front of me. The holy drink has made me drunk. I am bewitched. Save me." Now I saw that the joke had gone too far, for the soldiers were beginning to string their bows in confusion. Luckily at this moment the sun at length came out almost opposite to us. "O Babemba," I said in a solemn voice, "it is true that this magic shield which we have brought as a gift to you, gives you another self. Henceforth your labours will be halved and your pleasures doubled, for when you look into this shield you will not be one but two. Also it has other properties. See." And lifting the mirror I used it as a heliograph, flashing the reflected sunlight into the eyes of the long half circle of men in front of us. My word, didn't they run! "Wonderful!" exclaimed old Babemba. "And can I learn to do that also, white lord?" "Certainly," I answered. "Come and try. Now hold it so while I say the spell," and I muttered some hocus pocus, then directed it towards certain of the Mazitu who were gathering again. "There, look, look! You have hit them in the eye. You are a master of magic. They run, they run!" And run they did indeed. "Is there anyone yonder whom you dislike?" "Yes, plenty," answered Babemba with emphasis, "especially that witch doctor who drank nearly all the holy drink." "Very well. By and by I will show you how you can burn a hole in him with this magic. No, not now, not now. For a while this mocker of the sun is dead. Look," and dipping the glass beneath the table I produced it back first. "You cannot see anything, can you?" "Nothing except wood," replied Babemba.